A mass shooter stopped at a Michigan church thanks to a deacon with an F-150 truck and an armed security team. Let's check it out.
Our other top story tonight, the search for answers after a potential mass shooting was averted at a church in Wayne.
Here's what we know so far about the shooter. Police say 31-year-old Brian Anthony Browning pulled
Not your turn yet, lady.
up to Cross Point Church with an assault rifle and more than a dozen fully loaded magazines. Right now, there's no clear sign of a motive, but there is this. We're learning about the special training at the church that saved lives yesterday. Noelle Friel is live at Cross Point Church for us tonight. Noelle, tell us what you learned.
Yeah, Will, Pam, we now have a clearer look at the damages after that gunman opened fire here at the front entrance of the church. Here you can see the front door has been completely boarded up, and just over here, another window has been shot out. The church's lead pastor says their security team routinely trains for situations like these, which helps stop that shooter just feet from the front door.
Very good.
The damages left at Cross Point Community Church tell the story of the tragedy narrowly avoided here on Sunday. Bullet holes on the side of the building, shot out windows, and a shattered front door. Lead pastor Bobby Kelly sharing new details about the church member that sprang into action.
He saw him put on a tactical vest at this point. He saw him take out his rifle at this point. And so he did call out to him saying, "Hey buddy, what's going on? You okay?" Trying to get him to come away from the church.
That parishioner hit the gunman with their car. From there, a shootout with armed security as a guard huddled behind a now bullet hole ridden AC unit.
Great jobs on him for taking action and trying to neutralize the threat himself by ramming him with this truck.
He got within 5 feet of the entrance of that church with a rifle and a handgun. And he fired between 60 and 90 rounds, we figure.
Jim Mikowski is an attorney representing one of those security guards. He says the need for this type of security is on the rise.
There's been a rise in church shootings and incidents at places of worship for over 20 years. That need for church security has grown. You can't think of a place that is more vulnerable to someone with a mental illness, such as what appears to be in this instance, coming in and doing evil.
Kelly says the church started the security team more than 10 years ago.
I mean, he's not wrong that, it's easy to just go inside of a church and you could do a lot of damage there, sadly. So I think it is very important for churches to have a security team, to have police officers on duty there. There are many ways you can, a couple of things you can do to lower the impact, the chances of this happening. Thank goodness they had an armed security team. Very thankful for that.
He says their guards are all church members who take classes to receive a concealed pistol license and train for scenarios like active shooter situations. He encourages other church leaders to have a security plan in place.
Having this team certainly saved lives, and that's proof that it's important to at least think about that and have some things in place.
And coming up tonight at 6, you'll hear from the security company that gives specialized classes where these armed guards got their training. And coming up, you'll hear how they're preparing more congregations for situations like these. Live.
Well, it's definitely cost effective to have people within the church practice, using a firearm and being licensed. If you can't afford to hire a security team, it is great to have your own, from people from within, doing these things. I've seen churches with police officers standing at the door. They have a, what's that called? It's kind of like an escort where they guide people in and they stand there for the service. That's very effective too, because police officers are obviously armed and they're trained for this. But if you're a smaller church and you can't afford it, then yeah, having your own people being able to take action is one way to go. So let's hear from the the security guard who took out this killer, this mass shooter. Let's check it out.
Well, we begin tonight with the interview you will see only here on 7. A security guard stopping an attempted mass shooting at a local church. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Simon Shaquette. Thank you for joining us. This all playing out at Cross Point Community Church in Wayne on Sunday. Thankfully, nobody was killed, and that's thanks in part to Jay Trombley.
7 News Detroit reporter Randy Wembley talked with Trombley about the moment he jumped into action and what he was thinking during those chaotic moments.
Guys, these are some of the bullet holes from that gunman during that shooting. The man who stopped that active shooter trained for years to meet that moment, but he never knew until Sunday whether he would run away from danger and the sound of gunfire or run to it.
Heard a noise, thought it was mechanical at first, turned to see people running. Asked them through a door what had happened. I thought it was in the cry room, and a young woman said AR-15. And I said, where? She pointed, and I headed in that direction.
Jay Trombley is a member of Cross Point Community Church and its safety team, which sprang into action when 31-year-old Brian Browning showed up Sunday morning armed with a rifle and a handgun looking to do harm.
Found out that evil came to our door, but God's hand for protection was right over us. So many things happened that can only be God-driven. The parishioner shows up late to engage him with his pickup truck.
Wow.
To slow him down. A double pane window stopped 5 rounds that I'm fairly certain where I was standing to look at the wall behind me, to see the impacts, to see that where rounds from his rifle traveled and impacted, God's hand was protecting me.
Trombley and other safety team members all averaged.
So you have the windows there as well as a security measure. All these layers are great. It's just great to have layers in your home, business, for scary situations. And a firearm is the last resort, sadly. That's the last thing you want to do. The last thing you want to do is be in a situation where you have to take somebody out. And unfortunately, these guys were forced to take action, and thank goodness they were there, though. But it's scary that they got to that point, is what I'm trying to say. But it's good to have all types of security measures in place, layers in your home, like I said, windows, locks on your windows, locks on your doors, extra bolts, gates, whatever, just to have some kind of barrier before you have to take that last step.
Citizens with no police or military experience have undergone extensive training in the event they encounter an active shooter. He says Sunday's nightmare underscores a harsh reality.
You are your own first responder.
Browning attended a few services at the church where his mother was baptized. Trombley is coming to terms with the reality that the cost of saving lives on Sunday was taking one.
I realized what happened yesterday, what my actions did. You know, I will reconcile with the Lord on the time for that. You know, I was protecting his people.
Yeah.
The one thing that always has been in the back of my mind, the question, if I hear that noise, will I run to it or will I run from it? And I answered that question yesterday.
I asked Jay if he sees himself as a hero, but he said he's simply a guardian of his family. And this church is his family. In Wayne, I'm Randy Wembley, 7 News Detroit.
And you know, he said something very important. You never know how you're going to react in a critical situation like that. Thank goodness he was there to help all of those people and that he ran toward danger and saved so many lives.
And the church having the presence of mind to have security on hand, thinking, God forbid, if something happens, we'll have protection, and that's exactly what took place.
So many churches have to train from within to keep themselves safe. So
yeah,
absolutely right. Look, like I said earlier, nobody wants to be in that situation because in order to save lives, you have to take a life. I mean, that's the most likely scenario. You can shoot him, he may not die, maybe hitting the leg or something, neutralizing. But you're shooting, you're trying to take out the active shooter, and your intention is to take his life. That's the whole point. Take his life so he won't take others. And I would imagine I can only imagine what that feels like. Yes, he knows he saved lives by doing that, but he had no choice but to neutralize the threat. And nobody wants to take a life. Nobody wants to do that. I mean, any sane person doesn't want to do that. Because they have these nut jobs running around here who obviously do want to do that, like this guy who went after this church. But, I ask myself the same question. I carry when I'm at certain places, movie theaters, whatever, and you never know what's going to happen. And when it does, how are you going to react? People get nervous. So it's something to think about. Will you be prepared in that situation to take action to save lives? And you can only answer that if you're in that situation. So we don't know how you're going to react when it happens. Best thing it can do is just be prepared for it. But I'm going to leave that right there. This is a very interesting story. The words of the call for gun control. If this guy would have taken out a bunch of people, he would have heard all kinds of this would have been all over the news about how we need gun control, blah blah, and this and that. But a good guy stopped a bad guy. I haven't heard any cries from anybody else about gun control, because the good guy took out a bad guy with a gun. So yeah. I'll leave that right there. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.